Good morning everyone, it's Brett here, Lionheart84, and I'm going to try and do change my videos around a little bit and do a few more intros than I have been doing, because it might save me on typing so much. It's a glorious Sunday. We've had quite a long cold spell here in the UK, but we've got a nice day today, which is perfect as it's the first Sunday of the month, and that's the day I do my quick garden tour to see what's happened in the last 4 weeks. This is really for my benefit as much as anyone else's, because from year to year I'll be able to have a look back and see whether plants have been more advanced or less advanced on that particular weekend. So I like to do it on the first Sunday of each month, weather permitting. Obviously if it's pouring rain I wouldn't be doing the video today. So we're going to have a quick look around the garden and see what's happening. This might be the last one of the year, as obviously things pretty much go into dormancy and stop growing outside here by October, but we'll see what there is to see at the beginning of October. But this is the September tour, so without further ado I will stop the camera, switch it around, and we'll have a quick look around the garden. The sun's just popped behind a cloud, which is perfect as it means not too much sun in the lens. So follow me as we do a quick walk around the garden. Welcome back. So here we are on the first Sunday in September. It's my monthly garden tour, so I'll have a quick look around and see what's still in flower, what's finished flowering. Still got flowers all over my Butylon at the back there. The Agepanthus have all finished now, definitely still in full flower. It's one of my little pot grown succulents. That's an Ionium, I think it's called Schwarzkopf, that one. One of my in-pot camellias, looking pretty healthy, should get flowers on it in the spring. Here's my in-ground Myers lemon, which I featured in a separate video. It's always looking a bit yellowy because it probably gets too wet in the ground and it leaches all the vitamins and minerals out the soil. Nevertheless, it's the best it's been doing this year, and I have actually got a couple of lemons on it, which is absolutely fantastic. I've no idea if it will survive the winter. Depends on how cold the weather gets and whether or not the lemons will stay on, but I'm still pleased. The biggest problem I have with that is the amount of damage the slugs and snails do to it, as you can see, which is a shame because it spoils the appearance of the plant, but I will continue to try and deal with the slugs and snails as much as possible. At the back I've got my Chilean guava. This one is Molyneux, the variegated one. That's Ugni Molyneux Flambeau, and it's actually got, if you can see down there, hopefully you can see, it's got plenty of small fruits on it, which I hope will ripen this year, and that will probably be October. Another camellia, my Chinese kiwi berry, or kiwi berry. That's the hasn't had any fruits this year, but it did have a few flowers appear, so I'm hoping next year to get more flowers on it and more fruits. That's Argutia Issai, that particular one, which should be self-fertile if I'm lucky. Another one of my daphnes at the back there, should flower in the winter all being well. And a variegated daphne hidden at the back down there as well. The blueberries obviously have finished fruiting for the year. They're all looking very healthy. That's my pineapple guava. That one's Mammoth. Didn't get any flowers on it this year at all for no apparent reason. But not to worry. I've got fruits and flowers on the other ones. 2 more blueberries growing amongst the other plants. They're looking great. That's the very last Agepanthus flower. I've been featuring this in standalone videos each Sunday. This is my largest pineapple guava. It's an unnamed variety. It's got completely round fruits on it. I'll be filming this a little bit later today in a separate video, so we can see how the fruit development's going. Hidden at the back behind there, you can't really see it, is an unnamed persimmon. Rather overgrown, so I think I'm going to be doing some trimming on that in a short while and getting that a little bit under control, because it's been overwhelmed by the passion fruit again. That's my amethyst. It's had a break from flowering, but now it's got hundreds more flower buds coming out, so it should in about a week or two's time be covered in flowers again. There's my seasonal pinia, which has flowered for the first time this year. Still got a couple of flowers on it. Been very pleased with that, and it's also got seed pods on it, so I suppose if I was so inclined I could try to grow the seeds. Probably won't bother, but maybe it'll self-seed itself anyway. It's my in-ground pomegranate, had its first flowers, a couple of flowers on it this year. Expecting next year to get more flowers and potentially fruits. Hidden at the back there is my small pawpaw. That one's sunflower, that variety. Has had a couple of flowers on it, and I've used it to try and cross-pollinate the others. On the fence at the back is my, I think it's a Chilean glory vine, Campsis radicans. Callistemon bottle brush. Here's another of my named pineapple guavas. This one's Triumph, and this one has got quite a few flowers on it this year, which hopefully you can just about see in there. As usual, the sun's out, it's not always easy to see what I'm focusing on, as the sun's reflecting off the screen. But that's got quite a few fruits on it. I've still got flowers coming up on my Crenum. It's the first year it's flowers. I'm really pleased about that, and that's been sending up flower spikes for about a month now. At the back, my butterfly bush and buddleia. This is my largest pawpaw. This is an unnamed seedling variety that came from Bernkoos. It's the one I've had the longest. It's a really good size now, and it looks to me as if it's forming, the sort of buds it's forming might be flower buds for next year, so that's going to be really useful for cross-pollinating my named varieties. Quickly moving over here, I've got my pomegranate Molar d'Elche. Next to it is my Moldovan pink mulberry. Had a few fruits off that this year for the first time, very satisfying. At the front here I've got one of my figs. I'm going to talk about those in a standalone video later today. Plenty of embryo fruits on these, but unfortunately these won't make maturity in this country, but I'll talk about that in the other video. There's my Illinois Everbearing mulberry. I made the mistake in the last couple of weeks. I didn't realise, but it dried out completely. I wasn't watering it enough in the container, hence the reason why the leaves have gone yellow a bit earlier than they should have done. It shouldn't really be going into dormancy till the end of September, but I've given it a good watering and it's perked up, and I'll give it some food as well and see if I can get a bit more growth out of it. This is my Asian pear Shinziki. Has got one fruit on it. Really good size. It's turning colour now. Should be ready in a week's time, and I've tied the bag to the branch so it won't fall off, and it looks like it's doing the job of keeping the insects and bugs off it, which is satisfactory. One of my persimmon trees here, this is a Hanafuyu. Moving around to the other side where I keep all my trees. I've got one small Hongli pear, Asian pear, still hanging on the tree, which you can probably see in the bag. Hasn't fallen off yet. My jujubes have been doing very well late season, and they're now covered in embryo fruit. Unfortunately, it's way too late in the season. These will be starting to go into dormancy in a couple of weeks' time, so none of these fruits are going to get anywhere near an edible size. But obviously, if we're fortunate with the weather next year, there's a very good chance that shame because there's so many of them, but unfortunately the way our season goes here, the season will be finished by the end of September, and the plants will go into dormancy, so none of these are going to reach maturity. The largest one on the plant actually is there, but it's going a pinkish colour rather than pure green, but I'm delighted that I'm getting embryo fruits on them, because it has proved to me that they're either self-fertile or the two varieties I've got, Li and Lang, will fertilise each other. So if I can get them to set fruit earlier in the year, there's a very good chance I will get jujubes. This was by Cornus Kusa I bought this year, growing nicely. Hoping to have flowers on it next year and potentially edible fruit. Quick look at my tomatoes at the front here. Leaves are starting to turn on them a bit now, which normally means that the sign of colder weather is coming, but as you can see I've still got plenty of tomatoes to harvest. So quickly spinning through my persimmons, if I can get through to them. I've got one Rojo Brillant, not big, but at least it's still on the tree. I've got one Chocolatino, not a bad size. I suppose that's it's larger than a walnut now, but they don't ripen here till November, so it's still got plenty of time to go. And I've also got one fruit on my small Fuyu, really pleased with that. That's looking fantastic, but obviously I'd like it to be double that size, but we'll see what happens with the we'll see what happens in the next month or so. But at least it's still on the tree, unlike to drop now. So my persimmons are all doing very nicely. They've all got to a size where I'm expecting to see flowers on most of them next year, so I could start to get a decent number of fruit. And all the young ones I've introduced this year have put on strong growth. In the case of quite a lot of them, a second batch of growth as well. So very pleased with how they're doing. This is my Nikita's Gift. It's got unusually an end of season flower bud appeared on it. May drop off on Mayflower in the next 2 or 3 weeks. It's irrelevant from the point of view of fruit, but at least I know it's a fruiting plant. Got my Lotus. Was meant to be a proc, turned out to be that it never got grafted or the grafter died, and it's now got a few fruits on it. They're probably the smallest of the persimmons fruits. I think they probably are edible, but I don't think there's much to write home about on the flavour. My pawpaw at the back there, which is Prima, still got 4 fruits hanging on it. The others didn't get knocked off in the storm, so I'm hoping, they're not a bad size, but they're nothing like the size you'd see in America, so I'm hoping that these will continue growing through September as a tree heads towards dormancy, and that maybe in October I'll have some edible pawpaw. That remains to be seen. Another one of my fig trees, can't remember the name of this variety. I think this one's Goutte d'Or, again covered in fruits, not going to reach maturity. It's very hard to get main crop fruits here, but that's life. My little Chilean guava there, Butterball, doing nicely. Going to up-pop that next spring, see if we can get some growth out of it. This one here is another Chilean guava. This is Capao. Has got some fruits on it, starting to turn colour. I'm hoping I might be able to taste a couple of fruits on it this year. Another potted pomegranate. This one is Provence. My loquats at the back doing quite nicely. Got some burnt leaves on them. I think that I fertilise them when I shouldn't have done, and I think they've been overfed. I'm not 100% sure, but I believe that's a common problem with loquats if you overfeed them. I don't think it was caused by sun scorch or too much or lack of water. I believe it was overfeeding, as it happened on both of them, but they're recovering nicely now. My chocolate vine Akebia quinata on the wall, I've got 2 of those, and I've got a third one coming this autumn of another variety, the cream flowered one, so I'm hoping to be able to get cross-pollination on them. One of my 3 pot-grown pineapple guavas. I think the one at the front, let's have a look. Well, can't remember. One's Triumph, one's Mammoth, and one's Gemini. I'm not sure which one's which without looking at the labels, but I have got a couple of flowers on them. That's the latest addition to my mulberries at the back there. That one is Repsime. That's a black mulberry. That'll be repotted over winter into a larger container. My Calycanthus flowered beautifully in its first year. Not for eating, just for ornamental. Another variegated Chilean guava. That's another Flambeau. That's one I grew to keep in a container. I've had one disaster, unfortunately, my Decaisnia, which is my blue bean tree. I overwatered it, and caused a root problem with it. Now I have repotted it with a much more open soil, and as it is a deciduous plant and there are some green buds in it on the leaf axils, I'm hoping that it's gone into an early dormancy and that come the spring it'll grow. We'll have to wait and see. This is my second loquat. I have got two. I've got Oliver and Mrs. Cookson are the two varieties I've got, and they both seem to be recovering from that leaf burn or scorch that I got, which I think might have been from over fertilising, which is a bit careless of me, but they're putting another flush of growth out now, so I'm very pleased with that. My two Passiflora incarnata. Let's walk around the other side. So I've got a nice big spider here in the middle. I don't want to disturb him as he's catching some of the bad guys, so I'm going to walk around the other side so he stays on the plant. Here are my two incarnata plants. Managed to get them through the winter nicely. Do have some flowers on them. Very pleased, that's the first year they've flowered, and obviously I'm hoping they're building up root strength so that they'll overwinter nicely. Let's just walk right round this side. Still got some cherries on these three plants. No, not cherries, I've got some cherry tomatoes on these three tomato plants, as well as some mid-sized ones. I'll be picking more of those today. My lemon geranium, which I'm going to move to a different location so I can see it in the garden more, has the most wonderful lemon scented leaves. There's my alocasia and some offshoots that I took off the roots, which are rooted nicely, so I'm getting a little bit of propagation going. And my final border with some my variegated rhododendron in it. Again, the Aegipanthus finished flowering, and my largest fig tree, which was thought to be Rouge de Bordeaux, but we now think is either Brunswick or Longdu. That's the length of August, the French word, Longdu. Again, plenty of figs on it. Unfortunately, not going to reach maturity because of the way our seasons work here. So, it's a very small garden, but I've managed to squeeze a lot into it. Gradually I'll have to keep reorganising it over a period of time as the plants grow, but as obviously I've got a lot to do at the end of the garden to reorganise that and put my garden shed in. But that's a quick tour of my small urban garden, just to show you what you can do. Even if you're not in a warm climate, you can grow some unusual plants and trees quite successfully, and even hopefully get some fruit on some of them. So thanks for watching, everybody. I'll catch up with you in the next video. Please remember to give the video a thumbs up. I appreciate it if you'd subscribe to my channel, share the video with anyone you think might be interested, and obviously click the bell if you'd like to get updates and see my future videos as they come out. I'll catch up with you all soon. Brett out for now.